Good Monday morning to you once again. We've been giving you the first alert for the past week or so about not only what we were expecting precipitation-wise, but the dangerous cold, and we definitely had it. Wind chills this morning, 10 to 20. We're still sitting in that range right now, and there have been a couple of areas of black ice on untreated overpasses and bridges, but for the most part around the Baton Rouge area, we're looking dry and a little bit better. But that dangerous cold, it isn't going anywhere anytime soon. That's why we've got the extreme cold warning in place all the way through noon Tuesday, and even though we're going to get a little bit of a warm up after that, another cold front later in the week, as though we needed that, right? 21 degrees ended up being the official low over in Macomb. What about 23 right here in Baton Rouge? So it did get around exactly what we thought, and of course it felt a lot colder than that. Our current temperature has not gone up much. We've only budged about 3 degrees. We're at 28 in Gonzales, 28 Homa, and 27 across the basin in Lafayette, where there were a couple of snow flurries earlier this morning from overnight last night and into the early morning hours. Look at that. That's the current way it feels in Macomb. 9 degrees, feels like about 17 between Baton Rouge and Gonzales. And the hour by hour, now remember, this is the way it's going to feel, not the raw temperature. So pretty much throughout the entire day today, when you factor in the winds, it's actually going to feel sub-freezing, even when we get to our highest. And again, if you're not used to driving or walking or anything involving black ice, usually you can't see it. That's the problem with it. It's a thin layer, sometimes appears as a thin sheen, and it's almost impossible to drive on. So hopefully we're going to see drier conditions over the next 12 hours. Meanwhile, there's nothing doing on satellite radar, and even when there were snow flurries earlier this morning out to the basin, it wasn't even getting picked up on radar. There goes the end. The back edge of that big cold front has caused quite a headache across the entire eastern half of the United States. I agree with the graph model that we're going to get a high of around 39 degrees for today. We just need the sun to pop out, and it is expected to do so in the afternoon, hopefully sooner than that. So we had our 22 this morning, or 23 to be exact, and we're expected to get down to about 19 degrees for tonight. The only difference this time around is the winds will relax a little bit. So that's kind of the give and take that we play this time of year. You've seen a lot of grumblings on social media about next weekend and maybe getting another winter storm. Right now I'm leaning towards I don't think that's going to happen, as it looks like this coastal low is going to cling to the Gulf, and that could graze our area with a couple of showers. But it is going to be very cold, I'll tell you that. In fact, you could see if you look out to Florida, again, the southeastern half of the U.S. as we go to the weekend, they do see a little bit of a changeover. I don't see that here in our neck of the woods, but believe you me, we'll keep a very watchful eye. We'll give you everything that you need to know and none of the hype. For today, we're going with a high temperature in the upper 30s. Okay, fingers crossed the sun is going to come out. It is expected to, but I know right now it is not looking like it. As we get to tonight, again, we go all the way down to 19, so the temperature is going to be colder, but keep in mind the fact that we're going to see lighter winds, so it's technically not going to feel quite as cold as the way we felt this morning. And even right now as we speak, there you see the temperatures. Look at what I'm talking about here. We go to the midpoint of the work week. Yes, we're going to rebound into the 50s for a couple of days, but I want you to look at those low temperatures over the next 7 days. Look at that. We've got one morning where we're actually not going to be below freezing, and we go right back. Look at the end of that 7 day, dropping right back to the low 20s. So if you don't like the cold, stay indoors.